Hey guys, and welcome to what I'm going to call the first episode of The End of the Road. Now, I know I talked about this before, but this episode is kind of special, and that's why I decided to go with it. You see, this isn't about the story of one character. Actually, it's about two separate television series, and, I'll go into the details a bit later on, but, I want to give this quick intro. Sorry, a bit of a, rough. Anyway, this is just my little send-off for Futurama and Burn Notice, because, these are pretty good shows that I followed, and, well, I wanted to share my experience with you guys, and maybe, commiserate with those of you who've seen the series, as well as, damn it, sorry, and, maybe introduce at least what these series were about to those of you who haven't seen, the shows, and maybe, would like to start following them. Well, actually watch them through and see what all the, what all the hubbub was about. You know what, guys, give me one sec. I'm going to try and get something to drink. I'm hoping that'll help me out. Okay, so hold tight for 1 minute. There we go. That feels a lot better. So anyway, like I was saying, I just want to talk about the end of these two series. And, well, you know what? I'm going to start with probably the more, I guess, serious and action-packed series of the two, Burn Notice. Now, for those of you who don't know, Burn Notice actually started, I want to say it was 2006, 2007, and it ran for about 7 seasons. Basically, this was an hour-long drama that was shown on USA originally, then I've seen it on a few other channels as of late. Sorry. But it followed the story of Michael Weston, a former United States spy with, I want to say the CIA, but, I'm can't really say for certain, and I'm not going to go into the details because, that's some pretty personal stuff. But anyway, the story follows Michael Weston. Actually, Michael Weston after he was fired, or as they like to say in the organization, burned. Now, when I say burned, I mean, I'm not talking about how whenever you and I get fired, we get severance package, or, the, hey, good luck, we'll be a good reference for you in the future if you left on good terms or whatever. No, if you're a spy and you get burned, basically you get dumped in a random city with no job history, no money, no nothing. And yeah, you have to deal with that. Sorry. Good stuff. So, you have to deal with that. And in the case of Michael Weston, he has to deal with that because, well, he's got nothing. But Michael isn't the kind of guy who just rolls over and plays dead. He's the kind of guy who asks questions, goes, why was I burned? Who did this to me? Because basically, part of the burning process with him specifically, at least, was that there were documents and records and such saying that he did a bunch of terrible things as a spy. Again, they go into a few of the specifics, but I'm not going to, because I can't really remember them, honestly, and, personal stuff, so. But anyways, so what's the story about? Well, for the most part, the story is about Michael trying to, find out about his burn notice, who burned him, and to get back in the good graces of, I believe it's the CIA. Not 100% sure, so, don't flame me for saying that. As he's dumped in Miami, Florida, he has a few resources at his disposal. He has his former love interest, Fiona, because she is, oddly enough, his emergency contact person for whenever he's dumped off originally in the first episode. He also has his mother, who lives in Miami, because, well, she's older. So, yeah, insert older people living in Florida joke here. I got nothing to end. I don't feel like being a dick, and here, you know, looking back at this 40 years from now and be like, wow, I was an asshole to old people. And then, of course, you know, you got the best asset of all, me. No, I'm kidding. It was his former Marine, Navy SEAL. Sorry. Should have done more research, but anyway, you know, it's his friend Sam Axe, played by, that's right, guys, Bruce freaking Campbell. You know, and basically it's about Mike trying to figure out, you know, why he was burned and how he can get back in the good graces, like I said. But also, because he's living in Miami and he has nothing, he has to do odd jobs as kind of a freelance problem solver. So, you know, during each episode, Michael has to work with a client, you know, who might be being hassled by a gang, by con artists, by thieves, by somebody, and, you know, they can't really turn to the police, so they turn to Michael instead. And, you know, throughout the show, Michael does his best. But also, in the background, you know, you got Michael trying to find out about his mysteries, about why he was burned, who burned him, and how he can get back in. And I have to say, they do it pretty well. You know, they mix in, you know, the elements of, okay, he finds out this little bit in this episode, you know, and it just builds up, and eventually, you know, it goes from small-time cases of dealing with, you know, like, low thugs harassing an older person to, you know, some pretty elaborate stuff that, honestly puts a lot of people in danger, not just Michael, his friends, his family, you know. It gets pretty crazy. And I mean, that's why I like the series, you know. It was very intelligent. It had some big conspiracies and subtlety and nuance and just crazy stuff that, you know, you have to rewatch the series, you know, and you'll catch things that you didn't the first time, or you'll be like, oh yeah, that happened, so then whenever this happens, you know, in a later episode, you know, you get it, and you're like, that's crazy that happened. You know, it's interesting being able to look back and see those little links between the different events and the different characters and such. So, what do I have to say about the series? Like I said, you know, it had all of those interesting things, but it's not just, you know, the elements of the story. It's the characters that make it work. It's Michael, Fiona, Maddie, which was Michael's mom, Sam, you know, all of the other little side characters, you know, from the gang members that he had to deal with in each episode to the, you know, the larger villains, you know, that burned him and, you know, got him blacklisted. You know, and I have to say that all of the actors, you know, did a fantastic job. Like, you know, I watched most of the series. There were some episodes that I missed, but I can't think of one time where a character did a bad job at what they were supposed to do. So, I mean, kudos to the actors on that part. Kudos to, I believe, okay, Matt Nix is, you know, the one credited with creating the show, but I'm sure he had help with writers and such, and I mean, they do an excellent job of making, you know, a story that starts out with Michael having nothing, you know, and having to live in, you know, a little crappy loft above a bar, to where it ultimately ends up in the end. You know, that takes some talent, it takes some skill, and it takes some real dedication, and, you know, I have to give serious respect to those guys for doing that. You know, unlike the crap that I do here. But I'm just one guy with a camera, and not even a camera stand. Right, sorry it took so long to talk about Burn Notice, but you know, like I said, the series was good, and watching the series finale, you know, like, it threw me some surprises. You know, it had some crazy stuff, and I mean, you know, some things happened that it's going to take some time to deal with, because, you know, I know it seems stupid to be like, oh man, something happened to this made-up fictional character, but, you know, whenever you watch somebody's story for so long, you tend to grow attached to the character, so, you know, when the shit hits the fan for him, you know, you feel it, actually. You know, if you're properly invested in the show, like I was, and like my brother was, and like I'm sure many of you were too. You know? So, I'm not going to say it was all roses and happiness at the end, but, you know, they had their reasons for doing what they did, and what they did, you know, had some serious impact, and, you know, yes, I'm sad to see the series go, but I'd say that they did it in a good way, and the fact that, you know, they didn't have to leave. You know, like, it wasn't, oh, we're on season 20, and the show's gone to crap, and we're just going to drop it because the ratings are poor. You know, it was, okay, we've hit 7 seasons, you know, we've worked up to this point, you know, everything's going to be resolved here, and, you know, that's it. But, you know, that's one story. If you'll excuse me, I'm going to go change because I want to talk about Futurama a bit now. So, give me a sec, guys. I'll be right back. Hey guys, funny story. Basically, I lost my costuming parts for this next part of the review, retrospective, whatever, and, well, I can't do the costume for it. But I've also put this video off for about a week because of reasons. Okay, I was lazy and I got distracted with other things. Don't hate on me. But, you know, so I just want to do it now without the costume. For those of you who are curious, I was going to do Fry. Now, I don't have proper orange hairspray, but, you know, I was going to at least wear the shirt, you know, and costume in tribute to Fry. So I would have at least had that. But anyway, Futurama. It's made by a bunch of people. Most famous, at least for me, is the creator of the series, Matt Groening. For those of you who don't know, he made the long-running The Simpsons series, which I believe is somewhere in season 20 plus at this point. So yeah, wrap your mind around that. If you liked The Simpsons, you'll probably like Futurama. If you like Futurama but haven't seen The Simpsons, wow! Well, where have you been for the past, honestly, 20 plus years? Like, I don't even know why you're watching. Oh yeah, Burn Notice. Anyway, to continue, Futurama. Basically, Futurama follows the story of Philip J. Fry, your average 20-something guy in 1999 New York. You know, he's got an average life. You know, he works at a pizza place, you know, has a girlfriend, you know, so he's living the normal life in New York City. You know, as a pizza delivery boy, with a girlfriend who ends up leaving him for some other guy. Wow, that's crap. Our hero, ladies and gentlemen, but no, like, you know, it starts off with Fry going out on a delivery to a cryogenics lab, you know, and basically getting there just to find out, oh, it was all some prank, and hey, guess what? The ball's about to drop. You know, the New Year's ball thingy. I really wish I knew the name of it, but I don't. Anyway, you know, so as he's counting down, you know, he's scarfing down the pizza because, well, the guy was a dick and pulled a prank on him. So, hey, might as well get some free pizza out of it. Unfortunately, he ends up falling into a cryogenic tube If there's a more scientific name for it, I don't know it. But anyways, he falls in, gets frozen for 1,000 years, and, you know, wakes up, and it's the year 3000. So yeah, he was in there for 1,000 years. And basically, you know, in the future, you know, you've got flying cars, robots, all this other crazy cliches. You know, I mean, some stuff you haven't thought of, and hey, it's just interesting. So, you know, Fry's all like amazed and wow at this, but, you know, also he takes into consideration, you know, oh my god, my family, my friends, everybody I loved, dead. But he actually takes it well, because honestly he was like kind of the odd man out. Like, family, like, it wasn't an abusive thing, it was just a, hey, we don't care as much about you as about your brother. You know, his job, he was a pizza delivery guy for a guy who was kind of a dick. So, you know, it's understandable the whole, yay, I'm in the future. Anyway, part of being in the future is you get assigned a job. So, you know, they do the aptitude test and find out he's supposed to be a delivery boy. Yeah, Fry doesn't take that very well, because, well, you know, he was a delivery boy in the past, and, well, this is supposed to be a new start for him, and, yeah, he got dicked over with the same job. So, he makes a run for it, and the parole officer, whatever, I don't know what the job was, but I'm just going to say parole officer, Taranga Leela has to chase him down to put in his microchip for the job. Basically, they put a chip in the hand. I don't know why. But anyway, you know, so she has to chase him to give him the job. Fry runs, eventually meets up with Bending Rodriguez. No joke, that is actually his name. You know, they're in a bar for a bit, they hang out. You know, they go to a suicide booth because, well, Bender was going to kill himself. Again, they don't really talk about why. At least I don't remember. So, whatever. But, you know, they don't kill themselves, and they end up finding Philip's very great. They use a number of greats, like, seriously, in the episode. A number of greats. And, you know, end up being employed by him, as well as, and Leela also joins them because she hates her job of giving jobs to people who don't want the crappy jobs. Yeah. Really hope you followed that. So basically it's just the comic misadventures of, you know, Fry, Bender, Leela, as well as some other supporting characters such as Dr. Zoidberg, Hermes, the bureaucrat, Amy Wong, Zap Brannigan. There's a bunch more that I can't think of. Oh yeah, Scruffy. I cannot forget Scruffy. And, you know, I mean, it's just a funny thing in the future. And I mean, they do some funny stuff with it. You know, like going to the moon and how it's such a trivial thing in episode 2. You know, about how terrible bureaucracy can be to deal with in, I don't know the specific episode, but trust me, you know the episode if you've seen it. You know, and they do a few serious things too. I want to talk about them, but I can't, because it spoils some of the stuff in the series. But again, you know what I'm talking about if you've seen the show. So, like I said, for the most part, it's comic misadventures, but it does it with some intelligence. So, you know, it's not just stupid humor, but it's intelligent humor as well, and also it does have its deep moments. Personally, I'd say the ratio is about 90-10, but overall, the series is fantastic. Now, a little bit more backstory to the show itself. The show actually ran from 1999 to 2003 and was canceled for reasons. And trust me, there are some diehard Futurama fans you don't want to bring that up to, because, well, they're still mad about it. Trust me, I know one of those people. So we don't talk about it ever. But luckily, the show was brought back. Crap, I can't remember what was brought back, but it was brought back eventually, and they were able to make some new episodes. So the show was actually able to come back from cancellation. Yeah, that's a pretty badass feat. I can't think of many shows that I know of that have been canceled that have come back from that. But yeah, so, canceled originally, came back, and they actually got to have their own little series finale. So now you're asking, okay, what was the finale about? Okay, spoilers. I'm just gonna say that right now. Basically, it follows, Fry and Leela finally getting married, and having a nice little life together. Unfortunately, there's a little twist with it. Basically, the professors invented some kind of device that allows them to go back in time 10 seconds, but it gets broken and freezes time. So, yes, Fry and Leela are together, but the whole world is frozen in time throughout the whole thing. And I mean, it's one of the nicest, most beautiful episodes I think I've seen, because it gets to finally put a close to the relationship of Fry and Leela, because that's the cliched, will they, won't they, oh blah blah relationship of the show. But yeah, but they did it like a normal episode, because the show came back once already. I'm sure if the fans want it hard enough and the creators want it to, I'm sure they can make it come back in some way if they want to. But for now, I'd say it was a beautiful end of the series. And like with Burn Notice, I'm going to miss the characters. For me specifically, I'm going to miss Fry the most, because, I can identify with him. He's the normal 20-something guy, and like I said, he was kind of the odd man out, in most of his life, and I'll admit I have times of that. Now, I'm not getting all depressed about it, but, I'm just being real. Also, he was funny. Also, he was a funny guy, and he had a good heart. And, so that's also what I identify with Fry with. So there you go. It's not all bad stuff with Fry. Also, Bender was hilarious. Probably the king of comedy of the show. And then Leela, 9 times out of 10, was the straight man of the group. And, well, you need that. You need the mature adults to handle the two kids. Fry, Bender. So, yeah. That's it for Burn Notice and for Futurama. If you guys watch the shows and feel like, sharing your own memories, hey, leave a comment down in the comment section below. If you haven't seen the shows yet, honestly, give at least the first episode or two a watch. I'm sure you'll be like, huh, there's some pretty interesting stuff. And you'll want to see more, and you'll understand what I'm talking about. And, hey, if you didn't like the shows, get the hell out. There's the door. Literally, in my room, there's the door. I'm sorry. I'm trying to make jokes. I'm just bad at it. But anyway, I'm Brad, and, I'll see you guys at the end of the road. Catch you next time.